Hello and welcome to Sheba online classes, standard 7. Today I will be finishing off the third term, that is third term is going to be, book is going to be completed now. Unit 3, prose lesson, Jane Eyre. It is actually a play, the last lesson, okay. Jane Eyre is the lesson. It is given in a, like a dialogue form, that is in a play, drama like there are 3 sections. And everything about all about Jane Eyre, okay, how she was, how she started her schooling, and then how she grew up to be, okay. So this is this lesson about, but it is not fully going to tell you about her life, just the initial part of her life when she was in school and how she went to the orphanage and all that, okay. So before starting, I would like to say how important is education. See, in your book, page number 136 is given there. Every child has a right to an education, a life free from poverty, protection from abuse. So this is the very important saying, that education is a lot, means a lot to everybody, isn't it? See, you are staying at home and still what we are doing, we are giving you online education. Education is still going on, though you are not coming to school, our education is still going on, isn't it? Process is going on. You are sitting at home and learning, and thanks to the internet we are able to learn it from through the internet, okay. Now I'll tell you what is education. Education is the process of getting knowledge, skills, values, beliefs and habits, isn't it? If you have this, you can win over the world, okay. A person who is not educated is a person like an empty vessel. Empty vessels make more noises, one proverb, same thing, okay. So education fills up your heart and mind and leads you to do something better in life, okay. And one more thing is, you can have a good character. Good educated person has a good character, okay. The education gives us knowledge of the world around us and changes it into something better, okay. So it helps us to build opinions and have points of view on things in life. So much it gives us, right? It is such important thing in our life. Okay, life in this planet would become more difficult for commoners if some of us human rights are excluded. So human rights, what they are talking about, what are human rights? Basic human rights. So what is basic human rights? What do we need? We need some rights to live, in this world. With a right to freedom to talk, freedom to speech, all that. So in that kind of way, Jane Eyre, this lesson is a good example, okay. So what is it telling you about? Let me see. Now see Jane Eyre, and these are the characters in this play. You can also act it out. You can get to Google up and see. You can get that play. You can see like a novel. It's a novel. You can read and see it. Okay. Now the characters who are involved in Jane Eyre's life. Mr. Reed, Mrs. Reed, Bessie is a servant maid. This is aunt and uncle of Jane Eyre. And then because why she is brought up here means both her parents died, okay. That is Jane Eyre's parents, both parents passed away. So she was their guardian, that is Jane Eyre's guardian is Mr. Reed and Mrs. Reed. Mr. Reed, he was very humble and very nice, lovable person. He likes Jane Eyre, and before he passed away, he told Mrs. Reed, that is his wife, to look after Jane Eyre like her own child. But what happened? Jane, that is Mrs. Reed, she was really very upset, and she does not like this Jane Eyre to be with her in the family. So she used to hate her so much, okay, and give her a lot of trouble. And her cousins, who are the cousins? John, Eliza, Georgiana. That is the aunties, that Mr. Reed's, Mrs. Reed's children, okay. But these 3 of them were very, very cruel to her. They used to hit her and bully her like that, okay. And there was one servant, the servant maid, her name is Bessie, okay. She used to be there like a mediator when the children are fighting, she used to be like a mediator and help them out and solve the matter. So like each time she can't be there, so she keeps telling them, don't do that. But she knows very well Jane is not a person, such a child to fight. The person who fight is John and Eliza. These both only keep on fighting with Bessie. But Bessie is how old? She's just 10-year-old, okay. And she is faced with such a horrible. Before starting, I would like to say, are there any rights you still like to add to human rights list? What is it? I would like to add right to your own things, freedom of thought and expression, right to social security, and right to play and to this is a list you want to add, like children, you must really have this kind of rights, okay, right to play, right to social security, and right to freedom of thought, to what you want to think, what you want to say. It should come out from you. Nobody should control your thoughts, okay. It should come out from the heart. Everything, whatever you want to say, you should speak out, okay. If there is any problem, you speak out and tell. So let's learn from this lesson, okay. Now Jane Eyre summary, let me see, I'll just read out the thing and explain it to you. Jane Eyre was a 10-year-old girl. Her parents were dead, so she lived with her aunt Mrs. Reed and her 3 cousins, Eliza, John and Georgiana. Mrs. Reed's house was in a town called Gateshead in England. Jane's uncle, Mr. Reed, liked her, so he was no more. He passed away very soon. He died. Mrs. Reed did not like Jane because she was not her daughter. Her 3 cousins always ill-treated her, and Mrs. Reed locked her up in the Red Room. After this incident, Mrs. Reed wrote a letter to Mr. Brocklehurst, who was running a school at Lowood. Jane was sent to Lowood. So what happened is, one day Jane and these 3 children were in the house, and Mrs. Reed had some work to do. So Bessie came and told, Bessie the servant said, please behave yourself and be quiet in the house, just then mind yourselves, okay. Then what happened, suddenly Jane said, nothing will happen, I will not be in any trouble, I can look after myself, it is them only who always get into problem with me. So what she did, she goes out to the library of Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed reads a lots of books, he's got a library, so she loves to read. Jane likes to read lot of books. So such a young age, no, she is able to read lot of novels, and she is a very well versed child in gaining knowledge. So she goes to the library and she starts reading the books. Then when she was sitting and reading the book, what happened is, John came in and just pulled the book. He said, how can you read my dad's, it is not yours, okay, you are a dependent, okay, you should be like a dependent, you should not act as though you are the owner of the house. So you should ask for anything, you should not behave like you own everything in this house. So please give the book back to me. So she said, I just wanted to read, I love reading. She said, just give it back. So he snatched the book away from her, and then what happened, he just after a few she went and again sat down in one place quietly, Jane. So what John did, he took the book and hit her on the head, just flung the book onto her. And then this what happened, after some time, John just jumped on her and pulled her hair, and when he tried to pull her hair, hair started bleeding from her head because she got hit with the book. And all this, and she started Eliza, another her cousin, started screaming like there was a fight going on. Then Bessie, who heard all this, she came and said, what happened? She was she started scolding everybody. What are you children doing like this? Don't do like this. Don't hurt her. But then she started shouting at Jane. Jane said, I am not like this. Okay, you know very well I am not like this. It is because of John only this problem. But Mrs. Reed, what she did not listen. She is protecting her children, no. So she said, Jane, go to the Red Room. Never come. Red Room means it's a lonely place. Okay, so it's known as the Red Room. It's a lonely place where children are for punishment. Just for punishment, they are sent there. Okay, in the house itself, there's one small lonely room. So she goes up to the Red Room. Don't talk to me. Don't back answer me. Go to the Red Room, she said. And she goes there. That Red Room is such a lonely place and very quiet, and we're kind of children who go there get very scared. So when she goes to the Red Room, she suddenly hears someone's noise and someone walking about. She gets very scared. She said, please leave me out, Jane kept telling. But nobody comes to her rescue. And then she kept screaming, and then she fell asleep. Then when she got up, when she got up, it was Bessie was there near her, and she said she was having fever. She got scared, the child, 10-year-old child, being locked up in one lonely room. So she got scared, and then when she woke up, she said she was very sick. She had fever, and the doctor had come, looked out. Till then, she had not woken up. So and then Bessie said, you are having a fever. You take rest. Don't have to. You don't talk much. You take rest. And then after all this, whatever happened, Mrs. Reed, what she did is she did not want Jane to be there in the house anymore. So she Brocklehurst in one person. It's a Lowood. Lowood means it's a institute where orphans are sent to. It is a very kind of a horrible institute. That is horrible means the conditions, that is a very that is basic needs are not there in that orphanage. So she was sent to the orphanage, but Jane did not know it is an orphanage. She said she thought she is going to some education institute. So she, from there she happily leaves, because she does not want to be in that house with the children who are always fighting with her. So she leaves, she takes her things and she goes to Lowood. When she reaches there only, she finds out that it is a orphanage, and she meets with Helen. Helen is the only friend she made. All the others were much elder to her. Helen and both of them were only same 10 years, 11 years, like that. The rest of the children were much elder to her. So when she went there, she met Mrs. Miller and Mrs. Temple, and they put her in the fourth form. They gave her food and all that, and asked her a few questions, and then they put her in the fourth form. That is, fourth form is children who can that is well they can know much. That brilliant students are put there. So others kept telling, she is such a 10-year-old girl, how can we put her in the fourth form? She said, no, she is much brilliant than you. She can read and write much better than others. So let her study. She will be able to study. So Mrs. Miller put her in fourth form, and then her life started from this. Since then, she started learning and all that. And Helen, then what happened is, I told you before, so basic amenities was not there. That is, they did not get enough food. There were no clothing, proper clothing, and the place was so cold, and some children were getting infection. That is through this cold and like some disease. If they get infected, one person gets, everybody starts getting that infection, and many children had died also during this season. Okay, so then best friend of Jane is Helen. Helen also passed away. So Helen also, when she was infected with this disease, and she passed away. Now she was all alone. That is, Jane was all alone, but she continued her education. So she started studying seriously, and then later what happened is, she was a student there. She went as a student, and then she became a teacher. She grew up to be a teacher in the same thing, in the institute, that is the Lowood Institute. And she, as a teacher, she was a good teacher. She taught all the children very well. And then I just read out a few lines from the book. See, I told you before this that due to starvation, semi-starvation and neglected colds and given it to infection, lot of children had died. In that orphanage, 45 students died. And Helen also passed away. And then afterwards, 8 years, Jane spent 8 years when she grew up to become a teacher. 6 years as a student and 2 years as a teacher. Okay, she got a job as a teacher at Thornsfield. There she started teaching Adela and led a new life in Thornfield. Adela is a child, that is, now as she was a teacher there in the orphanage, then she got a Fairfax. Fairfax means one lady, Mrs. Fairfax, she sent a letter to the orphanage telling she wanted a teacher for her child. That is, her name of the child is Adela. So from there she went from Lowood, she went to Thornfield. So when she went there, a new life started for Jane Eyre, and from till here only is your story. There is beyond that, there is other thing, that is rest of her adult life. What happened is not said to you. Till only this, till here, her early childhood, till she became a teacher. And when she went to Thornfield, Adela, she has to teach Adela. So Adela was so attached to her, and she was so happy to have Jane Eyre as a teacher, and then rest is history. Okay, so everything after that, it worked out very well for Jane Eyre. Okay, so this is the story. Go through all the see how education is. See, just to get that education, she has to bear up with so much atrocities and so much thing from her aunt's family, isn't it? Now after she got that education, now she is confident, and she can determination is so much that she is able to teach others, and finally she can earn, that is, she can get the strength. When any person is educated, we get the strength to face the world. So that same thing is, that's what it is. You should also get this education and face the world boldly, right? So see you next class. Thank you.